Hi, third grade. We are here with a new paired selection. The title of this paired selection is Susan B. Anthony Takes Action. The genre of this text is biography. We've learned that a biography is an informational text about a real person's life. The real historical person that we will be reading about in this text is Susan B. Anthony. Compare texts. Read about how one person's good citizenship made a difference for women in the United States. Let's read this biography about Susan B. Anthony and learn how she made a difference for women in the United States.
Susan B. Anthony Takes Action. Susan Brownell Anthony was born in Massachusetts in 1820. Her family believed that all people are equal. At the time Susan was born, however, this idea of equality was very unusual. Men and women did not have the same rights. Women could not do many of the things men did. Women could not vote, and they could not own property. Life was different for Susan. She learned to read and write at the age of 3, even though she was a girl.
In this first paragraph, it says men and women did not have the same rights. What could men do that women could not do? Men could vote and own property, but back then, women weren't allowed to.
Early struggles. When Susan went to school, she saw that boys and girls were not treated the same way. One of her teachers refused to teach Susan long division. She said that girls did not have any reason to know math. As a result, Susan's family took her out of school and taught her at home.
How was education different for boys and girls? Boys were allowed to learn things that girls did not have the opportunity to learn, such as math. Susan and her family did not think this was fair.
Susan's family felt strongly about equality and good citizenship. They spoke out against slavery. When Susan was 26 years old, she became a school teacher and fought for the rights of students. She wanted boys and girls to be able to learn together. She also wanted children of former slaves to be able to learn in these same classrooms. A friend in the fight. When she was 28, Susan heard about a meeting to discuss how women might get the right to vote. She was very excited about this idea. She went with her family to Seneca Falls, New York, to hear Elizabeth Cady Stanton give a speech about the topic. Susan and her sister and parents signed papers to support the idea. Susan felt so strongly about it that she started working with Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Together they started a weekly newspaper and gave speeches around the country. In 1978, the United States Mint released a dollar coin to honor Susan B. Anthony. In 1848, Elizabeth Cady Stanton spoke about women's right to vote at a meeting in Seneca Falls, New York.
How much influence did Susan's parents have on developing her ideas about equal rights? In this chapter, it says Susan's family felt strongly about equality and good citizenship. They spoke out against slavery. This tells me that Susan's family had a lot of influence on her from an early age in the way that they treated her and as role models of citizenship.
Women get the vote. Susan gave as many as 100 speeches around the country every year for 45 years. She always stayed excited and hopeful about her work. Not everyone agreed with her ideas. Susan and her friend Elizabeth Cady Stanton had to fight hard for many years for the rights of all people. They always did their work peacefully. It was not until 14 years after Susan died that women in the United States were allowed to vote. The long struggle would not have been successful without the work of Susan B. Anthony. Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton worked hard to support the rights of women in the United States. Women can vote. This timeline shows important dates in the life of Susan B. Anthony and in the fight for women's right to vote. 1820. Susan Brownell Anthony, born in Adams, Massachusetts. 1848. Attended Seneca Falls Conference. 1852. Started working with Elizabeth Cady Stanton. 1868. Started a weekly paper. 1869. Founded National Woman's Suffrage Association with Elizabeth Cady Stanton. 1872. Arrested for trying to cast a vote in an election. 1906. Died in Rochester, New York. 1920. Women get the right to vote.
What was the effect of Susan B. Anthony's long, hard struggle for women's rights? The effect of Susan B. Anthony's fight for women's rights was that women finally won the right to vote. The author helps me to know how she feels about Susan B. Anthony because she describes how Susan B. Anthony worked hard for women's rights and gave speeches for 45 years. The author says that she always stayed excited and hopeful about her work. This tells me that the author admires Anthony's attitude as well as her hard work for women's rights. The author includes a timeline showing Susan B. Anthony's accomplishments. This timeline helps me to understand how Anthony struggled for women's right to vote, and she even got arrested for trying to vote.
You can be a good citizen too. You can participate in your community just like Susan B. Anthony did. Volunteer your time. Get to know your neighbors. Talk to people. Listen to their ideas. Tell them your ideas. Work peacefully with others. Help others. Make your community a great place to live. Good citizens help people in their community.
Now let's take a look at the Make Connections questions. In what ways was Susan B. Anthony a good citizen? This brings us back to the essential question. Susan B. Anthony showed good citizenship by helping and cooperating with others and fighting for her beliefs. I know this because on page 387 and 388, it says Susan B. Anthony spoke out against slavery, fought for her students' rights, started a newspaper, gave speeches, and helped women gain the right to vote. Tell about some other leaders you have read about. How did they show good citizenship? This is a text-to-text connection. I can make a text-to-text connection to our anthology text, Elizabeth Leads the Way. In both of these biographies, we learned how these women fought for equal rights. We even see a real photograph of both Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony working together to fight for women's rights. All right, boys and girls, that's our paired selection, Susan B. Anthony Takes Action. Thanks for watching and learning with me. Bye for now.